Hello everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MT Predictor software program. In today's MT Predictor video, I'd like to have another look on a Forex chart using a slightly longer time frame. But as usual, first we must start with our risk disclaimer. And just remind you that all examples in these videos should be considered as hypothetical. No trades are actually taken, they're just shown for illustration and training purposes only. Remind you there's a risk of loss in trading and investing. This applies to any method or approach to the markets, in that there always will be losing trades. So any professional trader has to know and understand, but more importantly accept, that losses can and will and always will unfold. Right, I've got some analysis on here already, so I'll just take that off. I want to have a look at a 4-hourly chart of the Euro JPY, and in particular look at this DP buy back here from last week. So is MT Predictor a black box system? In other words, do we follow all our automatic setups? As you can see, we have on our chart here, perhaps filtered with our MTP trend, which is grey for in the process of making a reversal, blue for up and red for down, or do we do something different? Well, we do something different, and the reason for that is because we understand that markets go in cycles. About half the time markets are basically random. In other words, it's really difficult to ascertain any large degree trend direction or any clear patterns on which you get some setups. So what we do at MT Predictor is we try to look and only do analysis when the large degree trend or the higher time frame picture is clear. So the question is, how do we decide whether that when that becomes clear? Well, for this we use a multi-time frame analysis approach where we look at a higher time frame chart. These are time frames between 3 and 5 time frames higher. So if you're, say, trading a 3-minute E-mini chart, you look to the 15. If you're trading, say, daily stocks, you look to the hourly. And because here we're on a 4-hourly chart, a 4-hourly Forex chart, the next logical time frame up is either the 8-hour or maybe the daily. So if we go to the daily, and for this we use our DP support and resistance zones. So I just want to go back using our training mode and go back to around about here and show you how we place these on the chart, because they're on the chart in advance. And basically we'd use the last swing pivot, which you can see is here, or that's the last high, and very often for anyone who's been following MT Predictor for a while will know that we use the last swing into the high or low. So there's the high, that's the last swing into the high or low. And basically these DPs are basically in the same position. So I'm just going to take that one off and then show you what happened if I turn training mode off. So remember, that's on the chart in advance. It's there before the market even gets there. So if I turn training mode off, you can see this is what it did on the daily chart. Went down to this level, made a TS4 buy setup, and then carried on up. But this is not the time frame we're looking to trade off. We're looking to trade off the shorter time frame. Whoops, missed that. The shorter time frame, which was the 4-hourly chart. So if I now go down to the 4-hourly chart, can you see how suddenly at this point the picture becomes clearer? In that we had higher time frame support, i.e. our daily support here, and we had our 4-hourly DP buy with our MTP trend agreeing with that, in other words, blue or black. In other words, everything was coming together to tell you the same story. So this is when we like to then do our analysis on our MT Predictor charts, when everything's coming together to tell you the same story. So if you right mouse click over this blue buy bar, do analysis, this gives you the potential trade. So on this 4-hourly chart there was a trade up into the initial target there for a potential 2-hour risk. Remember, use position sizing to vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep your initial risk small and under control. So when the losses come through, and they will come through, they kept small at what we call 1R or 1 risk unit. In this case, going to the first target here, the profit would have been approximately 2R or twice the initial risk. Now this was the trade just sticking on the 4-hourly chart. But if you're slightly more experienced, you should go back out to the higher time frame chart and then use the higher time frame next resistance area. So this is the last swing into the low. So we do exactly as we did here earlier. So the last swing into this low, we right mouse click, do DP, and place the DP on the chart there. So that would be your potential target. Because this is a TS4 buy setup, the next target also could be off this high here, which is up at that level. So if I place the analysis on for the TS4 buy setup, you see it's up at that level there. So I'm just going to take that off so we don't confuse matters. So these will be the two targets on your daily chart. And as you can see, this is where the Euro JPY is at the moment. This is live data come in and we haven't got there. So what does that mean if we go back down to the time frame you're actually trading off? Well, what it means, if I zoom the chart out and I come down a bit, you can see we haven't reached these targets. So rather than looking to come out of the first target, you could then say, well, actually I want to run my trade a bit further and either look to that target, which would be the first target on the daily chart, or perhaps right the way up here to the logical target for the TS4 buy setup on the daily chart. But can you see how it increases your potential profit? So rather than coming out with just a small profit at about 2R, at this target here, the profit would be increased up to approximately 5.5R, 5.7R, or even at the higher target here of approximately 7R or 7R profit. We don't know what it's going to do because the market hasn't got there yet. But the whole purpose of this video was to show you how we identify our particular trade setups, and that is where we use a multi-time frame approach where we look to go out to the higher time frame chart. We then place our DPs on the higher time frame chart. I'll just clear that all off, and we use those to project potential future areas of support and resistance out there in advance. We do exactly the same as well for a potential target. We then come down to the shorter time frame, the time frame you're looking to trade off, and then look to see whether you get setups coming off meaningful reversals at those particular levels. And as you can see, in this case, we did have a DP buy at the higher time frame support, with the initial target here and a potentially further out target up at that higher level there. So we can watch this and see where it actually goes to, and see whether it does indeed reach that higher time frame DP daily resistance target in the days and weeks to come.